You are now tuned in to Hits 92.3, where we take great pride in personal expression of one's feelings, thoughts, or ideals. What you're getting ready to hear on this show are the opinions of the hosts and their guests, and they do not reflect the opinions of Hits 92.3 radio station, the brand, management, staff, their respective advertisers, parent companies, or affiliates. Now stay tuned as this show begins in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You are now tuned in to All Hustle, No Fear.
I may not say much, I'm far away on a cloud, oh, I'm made of staples, I'm holding all of it down, so hold me together. I know I'll get better someday, I don't need labels, I just want something that's real, oh, eat at my table, and we'll be forever fulfilled, just hold it together, and we gon' get better someday.
Rolling up the cutty, we buddies now. Please feel free to sip from me, my body's a holy grail. You be my release, I'll keep your secrets all to myself. I'll prayerfully find peace between your sheets till they turn to silk, or till we make $1 billion, or the spirit's equivalent, but we been the shit, Well, they just getting started, we about to finish them, Get that KO, we knocking them out like Benadryl, yeah. All I can say is that it hits so different when it's real, and you make me feel frilly, I feel silly, but I'm with it, cause you witty, and we chillin', and it's fluid, you so liquid. It's ever so clever, no ever clear, only crystal. About to shoot my shot like pistol. Your lips so smooth and you move so nice, and we don't get tired, so it's yours all night. And you got it, babe, you got it. Yeah, the cat is in the bag now. In love with how you blow my back till I pass out.
I may not say much, I'm far away on a cloud, oh, I'm made of staples, I'm holding all of it down, so hold me together. I know I'll get better someday, I don't need labels, I just want something that's real, oh, eat at my table, and we'll be forever fulfilled, just hold it together, and we gon' get better someday. I'm far away on the cloud, I'm holding all of it down, so
just imagine flying out with the birds in first class with her bag and the goodies, eating good, living lavish, getting paid, taking trips without asking. Yeah, just imagine in LA VIPs with the stars, sipping good with the baddies, looking sexy and classic. I'm a savage, classy, bougie, I'm ratchet. Can you make it pop, lock, drop, rock, rock, shaky, shaky, don't stop, 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 make it pop, quacky, quacky, get that guap, guap. Guap, baby, baby, get that guap, little baby, get that guap. Can you make it pop, lock, drop, rock, rock, shaky, shaky, don't stop, 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 make it pop, quacky, quacky, get that guap, 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 baby, baby, get that guap, little baby, get that guap. Just imagine riding top down in Bentley's, Maseratis, in the supercars. I'm 65 through Kentucky. Might buy a Corvette if I'm lucky. Yeah. Never lacking, put my foot to the powers, got the skills, work the hours, now I'm touching VVs, cause I'm stacking, it's a passion, they don't need a loan on me, I'm going double time, I handle any situation, never cross the line, and fix the issue, keep it going, never look behind, and when I step in the building, they know it's party time, yeah, it's party time, can you make it pop, lock, drop, rock, rock, shaky, shaky, don't stop, 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 make it pop, quacky, quacky, get that guap, 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 baby, baby, get that guap, little baby, get that guap. Can you make it pop, lock, drop, rock, rock, shake it, don't stop, 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 make it pop, quacky, quacky, get that guap, 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 baby, baby, get that guap, little baby, get that guap. Band to make a dance, diplomas make me shimmy. I got the whole gig bopping. I come to turn up the city and more the park got some bling. Yeah, education gon' slay, but there is still a jiggling, moving some type of way. I'm living like a rock star. Yeah, this was going stupid. Yeah, the speak going hit. My brother Cece producing. I'm here and there, and that make them feel some kind of way. Get in your bag, run your business, and stay out the way. Can you make it pop, lock, drop, rock, rock, shaky, shaky? Don't stop, make it quake, quake. Get that guap, 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 baby, baby, get that guap, little baby, get that guap. Can you make it pop, lock, drop, rock, rock, shaky, shaky? Don't stop, 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 make it pop, quacky, quacky. Get that guap, 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 baby, baby, get that guap, little baby, get that guap. Can you make it pop, lock, drop, rock, rock, shaky, shaky? Don't stop, 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 make it pop, quacky, quacky. Get that guap, 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 baby, baby, get that guap, little baby, get that guap. Yeah.
Going insane. Lately I can't be too focused on you. When things change, and I'm praying that things change, so I can get close to you. I wanna pull up on you. No more games. I'm done playing. It's time to make my move. I just gotta play you. Love, babe. And Cupid is the blame. Yeah, you feel it too. She said she felt that. She telling me her feelings and I respect that. I'm showing I keep it real and she expect that. So I ain't gotta ask for receipts when I give her cash with the next bag. You thinking I'm the bomber through another frag. This might just be a hit, I threw another jab. If you don't hit me back, then we are not a match. Cause I'm the hot type, yeah, this is not an act. Last night I couldn't breathe, it's like my lungs collapsed when I text you, but you ain't text me back. What were you doing? Where were you at? Thought you was available, I fell in the trap. If you say let's disappear, then we fall off the map. If you say you need some love, and I fall in your lap. These are all facts, it's just the yelling cap. I'm out of my mind, I gotta call my doctor back. Lately I can't be too focused on you. Love, babe. And Cupid is the blame. Yeah, you feel it too. Yeah. It hit me. Maybe it's the tequila, yeah, I'm litty. Still running my game and it's crispy. Never breaking us up like a Rice Krispie. Gotta stay sticky, icky. Tonight I'm going out and you coming with me. Let's go. We gon' pour it up in the best 50. Blowing smoke in the air like the old hippies. I got you going wild like the old Britney. My game type, I step back, I call game. Like the buzzer beater, got the ops going insane. And since I brought you here, I know you leaving how you came. And the plan is to have you come over again and again. And now you got it all to gain. We came for the appetizers, you got the main. I'm trying to build with you, that's why I brought the crane. A halo's in the room, yeah, you know his name. Lately I can't be too focused on you. When things change, and I'm praying that things change, so I can get close to you. I wanna pull up on you. No more games. I'm done playing. It's time to make my move. I just gotta play you. Love, babe. And Cupid is the blame. Yeah, you feel it too.
I just want to run my business and do relationship with my friends, and that's it. That's it. That's it.
You are now tuned in to All Hustle and No Fear with your girl, the Hood Unicorn. Come on, let's go.
Back against the wall, last name against the rope. Middle finger stretched, if you thinking it's a joke. Tell my friend I'm about to blow, 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 about to blow.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, wait a minute. My face is still up there. Hold on. Let me take that away. Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. How you doing? How you been? It's your friend Sunshine Reigns, a.k.a. Griselda Blanca, a.k.a. Uni the Motivator, a.k.a. the Party Starter. But you tune in each and every morning because I am your Hood Unicorn, and I'm here to wake you up with positivity, motivation, current events, and a whole bunch of... Ooh, that... Girl, you stupid. Laughter. Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's up, y'all? I don't know about y'all, but September said bye. Bye. I ain't got time for this. I'm gone. I'm not playing with y'all. September got the hell on like it wasn't nobody's business. And I'm not mad at her because the way y'all acted this month, September deserved to leave. September deserved to leave. Y'all didn't deserve September in all of her glory. Y'all came in here. I'm talking about like... the way y'all didn't pumpkin spice like y'all used to pumpkin spice of September's past, I think that's why September left as fast as she did, because y'all didn't show her absolutely positively no respect. And what you're not going to do is that to October. That's what you're not going to do. You're going to let October take its ever-loving time that it deserves to take because it is Libra season, okay? So y'all saw it up there already. Y'all saw it up there. I move quick and do. Shout out to Kels for the fly-ass flyer, okay? My birthday party is October 20th. Shout out to the folks that's already... Hey, somebody who don't live in town bought the first ticket. Shout out to Constance Every. You know, we've been talking to her about running for mayor. I don't think she won, but I know she's still going to advocate out in Knoxville. She bought the very first ticket. So for all of y'all that live in Atlanta, shame. Y'all live here, okay? But shout out to the person who bought the first hoodie. Thank you, Teacher Anitra, for buying the first hoodie. But yeah, y'all get y'all tickets, get y'all hoodies. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I've been talking to people about the Mancala game, and finally somebody knows the game I'm talking about, and it just so happened to be Stoner Brown. And it's so funny because when I asked him, I said, Stoner, you ever heard of Mancala? He said with the little rocks, and you got to get them to the side. I said, yeah. He said, nigga, you don't want none. I said, we got money on it. Let's go. I'm bringing my stripper ones. I'm doing y'all in on this Mancala board. I promise you. And I'm almost willing to say I might buy that 4-person Mancala board. I really might, because that looks like that go hard. Okay. But like I said, we're gonna have games, we're gonna have a spades table, and my husband told me to remind y'all I need a spades partner because my husband absolutely refuses to play spades. His attention span ain't long enough. He has ADHMFD. He can't keep in. He will renege. He will he's a renegger. Okay. And I'm telling you right now, I ain't got time to be cussing him out while I'm stuck on tequila and he reneging on my board. So if anybody out there is serious about spades, the way I went to college for spades. Okay. If you serious about spades, if you ready to run some Bostons on them asses, I need a spades partner. Okay. And I need somebody who gonna be there and be serious. Cause I might get some trophies or some like we might even get a plaque or something to put the winning the winning receipt in there, okay? Because I'm not playing with y'all. Like I said too, we're gonna play some movies. I'm definitely gonna play Low Down Dirty Shame, and that's just because Jada Pinkett. You know what? Maybe we need to talk to Dr. Vaughn about men being with women like Jada.
Because Jada is definitely disrespectfully toxic. Okay, she is super toxic. Okay, but it's men out there who love her. So we'll talk about that later on because we do have Dr. Vaughn in the building. I told y'all I really want to do my part in the community, and I feel as though men's mental health is one of those things. I have 7 brothers. I am the only girl. I am the oldest. I have been around men my whole life. I have a black father, a black husband, and a black son. Men's mental health means a lot to me. Okay, I'm not the one to, I'm not a pick me woman, but at the same time, I'm not gonna sit up here and let y'all bash on no man like y'all ain't got to hold yourself accountable to. So could I have started with Women's Mental Health Mondays? Absolutely, I absolutely could have, but I felt as though we needed a chance for our brothers to have a safe space with us. See, because you notice a lot of things is creating a safe space for our brothers away from us. And everybody need their own space. But I also want y'all to feel comfortable talking with us right here in the room too. Because as teacher Anitra said, I'm just here to sit down, shut up, and listen. I'm just here to sit down, shut up, and listen. Why? Because she want to learn a few things. Because right now it ain't necessarily about us. Okay, but I do want to say this as well, ladies, especially single mothers. If you have a son, this conversation is for you too. And the reason why this conversation is for you too is because you need to help your son start out with a good mental health. Okay, we don't want, it's right there, it's on the tip of my tongue. There is a Frederick Douglass quote that said it's about men, it's about, it's something like, if we build strong men, we don't have to dim gummit, and my phone is dead. Okay, you know you know it. Go ahead. Tell them the quote.
Quote is, "It is way easier to raise healthy children than to heal broken men."
There we go. And that was Dr. Vaughn. And when we bring him on, see, now if you know he already knew it, you know he about to bring us some good stuff. And that's exactly what I want us to keep in mind. I want to give my son the ability to do things and feel things that his father may not have had that ability, right? So I'll give you guys for example. In my household, I allowed my son to cry. I never tell my son, don't cry. I never say that. But there's a difference between expressing emotions and losing your shit. Okay? Now, you definitely can express your emotions, but continue to control yourself and have some kind of decorum, right? Now, if you having a temper tantrum, if you just going beyond the rails, I'm gonna need you to go in your room and deal with yourself and then come back out and discuss everything with us, right? I'm not telling you not to cry. I'm just telling you what you not gonna do is you not gonna think that you gonna be here in the middle of us and change all of our emotional state because your emotional state ain't where it need to be. Okay, and a lot of y'all adults need to figure that out. A lot of y'all be going through issues and you think because you in a fucked up feeling that I gotta be in a fucked up feeling too. And I don't like that. I don't like that. And it come out in things like road rage, Karenism, Bonquishaism, whatever you want to call it. But when y'all come, you know what I'm saying? When you got a soldier girl to me, I don't like that. And I'm going to need y'all to figure out a way to deal with that. Okay. So, depending on how long we get to have Dr. Vaughn for this morning, we definitely have men's mental health in a moment. And we also have Bro, I Got Fired if we have time. And we have Boss Moves if we have time. And just let me say this. For everybody who got an issue with this lady, this is your issue. And I just might think this might be my Beyonce. But I love Pinky Cole. I fracking love Pinky Cole. And I've heard people have some negative things to say about her. I know she's been sued for different things. And I just want to say this. Sometimes you can't get it right immediately. You've got to go through those bumps and those bruises and everything. But when you really talk about somebody who put in the work, did the hard work, saw the dream, and manifested that dream, how can you not think of Pinky Cole? You know what I mean? And one of those things that she does that I absolutely positively loves is when she go on Instagram and she will tell y'all 10 different businesses that you can own. Different. She just coming up with the idea, told you the marketing strategy, who your target audience is, and everything. I really feel as though Pinky Cole is a black Gary Vaynerchuk. I really do. And if you don't, tell me. I mean, this is always an open forum. I'm about to go ahead and say hi to everybody in the congregation real quick. But I really feel as though Pinky Cole is on the lines of a black Gary V. And I mean, just think about how Gary V talks to y'all or whatever, what he's talking about, not just that he's cussing or whatever, but just the things that he's talking about. That's really giving Pinky Cole. It really is. And I'm one of those people where I notice folks right when they're blowing up, like right before they've blown up. And I contacted Pinky Cole and her people right before she blew, but I was too late. It was they were already on that flying out. So maybe one day I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get big enough. I'm gonna be amazing, and everybody gonna want to be on my show just as much as I want them on my show. But I definitely have an affinity for Pinky. I really do. So I think that'll be our next book. I'm waiting for the rest of the people in our book club to finish. Thank you for all of y'all for dropping y'all perspectives this week. But I need y'all to finish this book. I really do. So we can go ahead and move to another book for the month of October, okay? And figure out what that is. Shout out to anybody who went and looked up those books that I was telling y'all about. Somebody hit me up, was like, what was the pimp book you said? And it was Iceberg Slim's Pimp. And he also has another one too. It's a green book. And I didn't see that one before, but now I gotta go buy it because I promise you, Iceberg Slim, that was a book that really put me in the perspective of you ain't gonna be pimping me, nigga. Because men really do be playing mind games with you, but hey, women play mind games too. Let's go ahead and say hey to everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rodney was first in the congregation. Hello, Rodney Watson. How are you doing today? Teacher Nitra is here. She said, good morning, loves. I'm going to sit back and listen today and hopefully learn a few things. Bowman Lee is here. He came in and said hi to Teacher Nitra first and then said hi to us. And I just want to say, look, don't be in my comment section making love connections if I can't be a bridesmaid. No, that's a lie. I don't want to be a bridesmaid. I want to be the flower girl. Can I please be the flower? Don't make love connections in my comment section if I can't be the flower girl. And that's all I'm going to say, okay? Let's see. Rodney said hello to family. Is that Sunshine on the Railroad Tracks? Yeah, that was an old video of me back when I was, everybody like 18 months, I become a model. And it's only for a day. And I go find one of my folks that got a camera. We'll go find a location. I'll go ahead and give me that face that smolders. You know what I'm saying? Do about 4 or 5 of those pics. And I promise you, I'm about to use them for the next 18 months. I promise you. And actually, it's about time. It's about time for me to do a little photo shoot. About that time. T is in the building. Hey, T, how you doing? Good morning. Rodney said, September pulled up, got a plate, used the bathroom, and pulled out the driveway. And you ain't playing. Teacher Nisha said, ooh, I be pumpkin spicing my ass off. Really? I'm not a very pumpkin spicy individual. Nope. I'm not gonna do it. All right, y'all. So look, we about to go ahead and get this day started. What I want from y'all, especially y'all fellas in the comment section, what I want for y'all is to drop some questions for Dr. Vaughn. All right, we're gonna give him a chance to come in and just monologue, let us know some of the things that he feels are issues in the community and things that Black men need to think about or just be aware of. But this is an interactive show, so not only can you drop your questions that I can ask him or we can bring up in the comments, but we'll also have the phone number out so you guys can call, and we'll also put the link so that if you want to be visual and you want him to see you and you see him as well. Also, we will be putting Dr. Vaughn's information up so that if you are looking for a therapist, okay, you definitely can contact Dr. Vaughn. And I'm quite sure that you don't have to be in Atlanta to join his practice. I'm going to be having different people. I know we had Chubbs for the first couple of times, but I'm going to be having different people because sometimes the first person that you interact with might not be the person that's the right therapist for you. So you have to, get an opportunity to meet different people. And I want to make this as normal as possible because in the Black community, or let's stop saying that. Let's just say for people in general over the last 40 years or so, going to therapy has looked taboo. Because let's be honest, white people were telling white people that they was crazy for having to go to therapy too. Don't act like it was just Black people making other Black people feel bad. We was just too broke to go to therapy. White people had the money to go. They was making each other feel bad about going, and they was keeping it on the down low. Black people probably wanted to go, didn't have the funds and resources to be able to go. So we bought a dog. And you told that dog everything. That's why your dad loved that dog so damn much. Because that dog know all your daddy's secrets because he refused to go to therapy. That's why that dog went fishing with your daddy. That's why that dog was out working on the car with your daddy, because that dog heard everything, especially when Edna start getting on his damn nerves. And don't act like it ain't the truth, all right? So we're going to play some music real quick. This is your opportunity to go ahead and drop your questions in the comment section. There's not even anybody on there. Y'all, if I'm getting off of here anyway, because I'm going to use that to record. This is All Hustle No Fear on Hits 92.3, the real definition of internet radio. When we get back, we have Dr. Vaughn in the building, and we're going to learn some things, all right? Here's a commercial.
Good morning. This is All Hustle, No Fear on Hits 92.3. And every morning you wake up with us because we rock your mic.
Mm-hmm. How big is your mic, Sunshine?
Big enough to interview you with.
Like Khloe Kardashian face, finding all the ways to dodge all the smell. I've been through the fire, flames, etc. They came and went, involved in these combustions like I'm blazing, can't amaze when I'm catching on. They missed the beat, but now they catching on. I bring the heat, but I got a curve, a call to catch her off. Another sign to sit, another line drop, ringing off, clear the bass, finna roll with pitches like I'm Carl Croft. This a wonderful life. I come alive with the stars. But what I run from the night? Sci-fi goes. Turn the cake off TV rolls. TNT, the bomb. When this CD blows, it's like everything I ever wanted is coming. I promise, but I'm lying. Son of game like Austin in his prime. Justin Jefferson, Jamar chasing all my goals like I'm teed up. Check me or I gritty in the zone like. Fly at the sky, I'ma shine like a star do. Gotta make plays, run it up like a boss do. Pull strings like a boss do. Heavy as pack, coming through the back. And they going crazy when we running, this ain't that. But that ain't this, me and Joey like Kobe Shaq. Hey man, this 4 summers running, we ain't never gon' stop running shit. Bench players talking, knowing all they do is running shit. I've been having dreams, it's me, Hakeem with double colorness. Had to sit back and let this rap shit get fun again. Oh dog, I'm back but I ain't never leave. The same nigga just came back in here with better weed and some cheddar cheese. Tell him check the board. I don't know how many times I told him check the score. Trying to scratch me out the records like I'm Reggie B. How they gon' try to steal the swag when I'm already me? We catchin' plays like Randy Moss, it ain't false. If you wanna learn, I can show you how to be the boss.
Fly at the sky, I'ma shine like a star do. Gotta make plays, run it up like a boss do. Pull strings like a boss do. Heavy as the hand, hold the crown as I walk through. Fly as the sky, I'ma shine like a star do. Gotta make plays, run it up like a boss do. Pull strings like a boss do.
Are you in need of some tattoo therapy? Visit Studio 219 for your next tattoo or piercing. Studio 219 is located at 1900 Piedmont Road in Atlanta, just 1 mile from the Lindbergh train station. Studio 219 is open Monday through Saturday from 12 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. and closed every Sunday. Book your appointment today by visiting www.studio219ink.com. That's studio219inc.com. Make sure to follow 219 on Instagram for promotions and specials at Studio219ink. Studio 219. Let us fix your creative itch.
Are you looking to reach a wider audience for your business? Are you tired of traditional advertising that feels like a waste of money? Then consider sponsoring an episode of All Hustle, No Fear. For just $50, you can get your business mentioned at the beginning and end of an episode, as well as a ticker displaying your business information and your logo posted throughout the show. You'll also get your show on social media pages, which will be seen by thousands of potential customers. This is a great way to get your business in front of a new audience and build brand awareness. So what are you waiting for? Sponsor an episode of All Hustle, No Fear today. Visit www.allhustlenofear to learn more and to sign up for a sponsorship. Remember, All Hustle, No Fear is After Dark Radio in the morning. Yeah.
Welcome to Freedom Summer. Timeless liberty.
Back when Florence meant Alabama, not Italy. Back when Huntsville wasn't really too into me. Back when Lax and Priestess ran the streets, them fleeces was up my sleeve. My jeans, they kept the crease, you know I was a beast. Riding with Miller and Miller brother Caprice. We pull up on Kendrick, I know his mama would cook a feast, to say the least. We had a place for our official sacrificial beliefs. Skipping school with them freaks. Tell the truth, my mama wouldn't let me get braids. She didn't want me stereotype my last day of 10th grade. Back when the IG page couldn't put you on stage. Back before Boosie said he a pussy, you find a 20, man, that shit just had me amazed. Back when doing dirt meant at least somebody was getting paid. Nowadays, these niggas doing dirt just for likes on their page. Man, is this a phase? Back when Bull used to have me in the projects for days. Underage and smoking weed blazed. Before Tip and Jeezy was let out they cage, man, we was outcasts all day. Mike Jones, Paul Wall, 8, Ball, MJG, Big Snoop Dogg, Drake, Pop. Before anyone said us that I was a thot. Before Lean and Rock, before we ever motorbike with Young Jock. Before they could snatch it on Napster. Before they would classify a classic album the day after. Before Bush had natural disaster and television had caught Kanye giving them backlash for the black African mishappenings. Before skinny jeans was happening. Before Obama picked the cabinet. Before 100K followers was deemed adequate. Before pursuing genuine interest was adamant. These days couldn't fathom it. These days, rappers lack talent, passion, and good management. Doing a balancing act on the mannequin. Strict diet, hamburger sandwiches, late night packaging, cannabis, jackboy scrambling, ambulance can't come fast enough. Them second chances don't come, that first one don't pass it up. Talking back before I knew an hourglass could move fast as fuck. I was legit sitting in my room thinking life wasn't adding up. Would I be young forever? Would I die standing up?
Keep on living, young nigga, keep on living.
The only cure for the struggle is just the hustle. Just left the coldest winter, please welcome the freedom summer. We free of pain, pride, and depression. Self-esteem and depression. Free of whack rappers disrespecting the legends. Free of ads and dimensions. Free of fake news. Free of them tiki torch, all-right shit-faced bastards. Free of being scared of the rapture. You ain't right with God, you better get right. We watching out for midnight, that's 12. And we ain't even doing nothing wrong, and that's what's wrong. We freeing ourselves, and that won't take long. Be yourself, love yourself, embrace the OGs. Respect the CEO to the manager to security to the janitor. One love. Easy.
Freedom, 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 freedom.
This Freedom Summer, want to welcome y'all. Timeless Liberty.
Just walk away.
We are back. We back. And even though I tried not to, me and Dr. Vaughn already started with some good ass conversation in the background. But it's okay. It's okay. We definitely gonna make sure y'all get a little piece of that. To start this off, let's do this. This is yet another Alex in Wonderland influence. If I don't give this girl her props and respect for what she has done for me and the people she's introduced me to, I would be remiss. So a long time ago, when I was trying to do the Men's Mental Health Mondays, actually, it wasn't for that. We were doing the live show. We were doing the live show, and we were still doing it early in the daytime. And I'm gonna do more live shows, but I'm gonna revamp that in a way to make it make sense. But Dr. Vaughn was going to be our live guest, and things happened and it wasn't able to happen. But I stayed in contact with him because networking is your best working. And I made sure to bring him in for Men's Mental Health Monday. So I'm going to give Dr. Vaughn a chance to introduce himself. And I just first want to say this, Dr. Vaughn. Thank you very, very much for allowing us to have some of your time, for coming in, for being honest and open. And, for any of the fellas out there, if you like what you're hearing from Dr. Vaughn, or if you feel any kind of connection in a way where you feel as though you could be open with him and it's somebody you can talk to, we will have his number coming across the bottom shortly, because we want you guys to feel as though this is normal. This is not taboo in our community to need to talk to somebody. Okay. And I'm a firm believer that that information is processed through DNA, and the things that Black people have gone through for the last 400, 500, 600 years, it's in our DNA, and we have some residual PTSD in there. And even if you might think you're okay, you might not be. Yeah. Okay. So, Dr. Vaughn, your mic is on.
Absolutely.
It's hot. Let's go.
So here's the thing. So the good thing is that this is not necessarily my time. This is going to be our time.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Us here in the studio, and then anyone that's listening, those that are chiming in with comments, this is our time for us to be able to have this conversation, get some questions answered, and really just kind of get a level of peace within our own lives. All right. So my name is Dr. Vaughn Gay, licensed professional counselor, clinical supervisor. I'm the executive director of Holistic Atlanta. We are a telehealth mental health practice right here in the city of Atlanta. We also service the entire state of Georgia and the entire state of Maryland as well. So whether in Atlanta, Macon, Savannah, Columbus, Washington, D.C. on the Maryland side, Baltimore, Bowie, Maryland, we are able to provide services for you, myself and my clinical team. I've been doing, this mental health thing since maybe 2009, I believe is when we first got my start, and just have progressed, over the last 10 plus years of being able to provide mental health services, not only to just men, but but families, women, children, adults, anyone from the ages of 8 to 80, we're able to service. And we just really appreciate Atlanta really responding to our challenge and putting our challenge out there to go and seek therapy when you're finding yourself in a place when you're finding yourself experiencing some low moments, some pockets of sadness. Go get some help and access some help. All right. Since the pandemic, this is really, really cool. Since the pandemic broke out in 2020, we have provided over 3,000 therapy sessions right here in the state of Georgia. 3,000. And I don't know if people really kind of understand what that looks like with the undertaking, because what happens is, as we're doing therapy, right, we're human beings as well. We have families, we have children, we have responsibilities, businesses, etc. And so to be able to provide that number of sessions that previously wasn't provided, that's letting us know not only are we doing the work, but the people in our community are responding to the challenge that we're putting out there. So shout out to everyone that has pursued our practice, for therapy sessions, and not only ours, all the wonderful, amazing practitioners here in the state of Georgia and the city of Atlanta, have really done a really good job. And so we really appreciate just the symbiotic relationship that we've been able to create with our community. And of course, we're also involved in a lot of other things. Teach over at Clark Atlanta University, adjunct instructor, do some things with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. And I'm also part of a really, really great organization called the Counseling Brothers of Atlanta. All right. Just a nonprofit group of Black male therapists that have gotten together and said, we want to be able to create an impact in our city and also be able to address some of these challenges that we see within our community. So we working. We're here.
When you hear men say that they'd rather have a Black male versus a Black woman or a white woman, what are some of the reasons why that would be?
Connectivity. For me to be able to be vulnerable and get into a space to where I am comfortable sharing personal things that are going on in my life, I need to know that the person I'm speaking to understands my language, understands where I'm coming from, it's not judging me, based on the setting, because we do telehealth services, of course, people in the comfort of their own home, right? They may be in their car on the road, and the traditional therapy setting is very clinical, right? It's very sit down, numerous questions. You're kind of in a prone state to a degree. So even with the advent of telehealth, we really have seen people find therapists that look like them and have shared experiences, so that I, as a client, can really kind of open up, process those layers, unpack some things, and really get to that solution. The solution is packed deep down within you, right? And it's actually attached right next to that problem. We highlight the problem so much, we can talk about why it's there, but we really don't want to be transparent with ourselves and get to the root cause so that we can deal with it and get beyond it.
Okay, so what are, let's say, the top 5 reasons most people come to therapy, or most people think they're coming to therapy? Because I feel like y'all are kind of like a mechanic.
With a secret society.
I come because my car is making this noise. And then when I get there, you tell me I need 4 new tires, my carburetor going bad, my steering wheel locked up,
right,
and I need some new upholstery. And I knew that, but I just came because it was making this noise.
Right, because what happens is, and even within our own personal lives, we just want to deal with the right? Because if we know that we have to actually spend more money and more time on the real problems, we got to get us a whole new car. Yeah. And in reality, we know that we need a new car, but we don't have the resources internally within ourselves to actually make that change, actually to grow in that space. So we just want to deal with the surface level, probably the surface level, right? So top 5 things that people come to us for therapy. Number 1, and contrary to popular belief, a lot of women seek out Black male therapists, and not just Black women. White women, Indian women, Asian women seek out Black male therapists for reason number 1. Everyone likes to come to therapy. Relationships. It doesn't matter if it is one of my teens, right, in the adolescent clinic, or if it is a 50-year-old woman, that's a recent divorcee, right? They want to be able to get into this thing up here and really get into the male perspective and understand who, what, where, why, when, all those major questions, right? So relationships is the number 1 reason why men, and in particular women, come to therapy. Number 2, parent issues. Right. So, and a lot of men here. All right. So here we go. You were talking earlier about single mothers, right? And raising sons. A quick message. there's a concept of not allowing the children to become our partners, right? And what can happen a lot of times is that when you're a single parent and your direct interaction, is with the child, right? There's bonding, there's levels of a little bit of codependency that can also be developed, right? And so what has to happen is that mothers and fathers, when it comes to your sons, as they continue to grow, there's a certain point where you have to allow their wings to spread. You got to allow them to fly. They're going to fall. They're going to hit their heads. They're going to make some decisions that are not the best decisions, right? You have to trust the seeds that you've planted in them, right? And make sure that you are nurturing those seeds, right? You don't have to continuously plant seeds every single day. Give it a little sunlight, give it a little water, but also give it some air to breathe, right? Trust you as a parent. Trust yourself.
Okay, for all my good little prostitutes out there, okay? Everybody who been here before, y'all heard what Dr. Vaughn just said, because I need this thing on me. This thing on me right here. What Dr. Vaughn just said, what I've been preaching for the longest time. Let your children fail.
Yeah. Yes.
Let your children fail. You have to let your children fail. Now, there's a difference between letting them bust their head open and letting them fail in a controlled environment, right? Where you can help them to talk them through it. And I think a lot of times, because I call us crack babies. Okay. We were born in the 80s. We crack babies,
yes,
right?
Man, 84.
Right.
Yeah.
82. Crack babies, we really were raised upon that do as I say, not as I do. Right. Children are seen and not heard. And, we didn't get a lot of instruction behind the message. You know what I mean? It was sit down and shut up. I told you what to do. Don't ask no questions. But these kids are Google kids. They ask questions. You have to figure out a way to explain to them what is going on as they fail. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just, see, I told your little dumb ass to sit down. That ain't gonna work for them. This ain't gonna work for these kids.
They gonna look at you like you're crazy.
Right. These kids eat couch cushions, y'all. This ain't gonna work for them. You have to explain to that kid that the reason why they fell down is because they did not tie their shoe. Right. Now, I taught you how to tie your shoe. I told you that before you leave out the house, you should tie your shoe. If you run and you don't tie your shoes, you're going to fall. I'm not going to say nothing else. Because I'm going to let you fall. Some of y'all just bend down and tie the damn shoes for the kids. And then when you're not around, they bust all their teeth out. You know what I mean?
We're impatient parents.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're very impatient. We are very, very, very impatient because, to be honest with you, all right, so here we go. Those of us that were born in that era in the 80s, early 90s, right, within our community, we got to ask ourselves, were we really raised to be husbands, wives, fathers, and mothers?
Oh, no, we were raised to survive.
We were raised to survive, right?
We were raised on we were wolves. We were wolf cubs.
So our resilience is super high. And so we operate in that space, and we have an expectation that children,
and our empathy is really low.
Is very low. We don't give a damn about nobody but ourselves. You see it all day long. All day long.
And you hear it all day long. I don't care. I don't care about nothing. I don't care about nobody. I don't care about shit. And whatever the lack of care, the lack of empathy is a problem. That is what separates us from lions, tigers, and bears. Even dogs have more empathy than some of y'all right now. And that is crazy. Like watching videos or watching things where you see people care more about animals than they do people. That is a lack of empathy. That's a breakdown in what give me the technical term. What's that a breakdown in?
You said
a medulla oblongata or something. That's a breakdown in a medulla oblongata.
If we were to go into the actual brain, we would be talking about the amygdala, right? That's the emotional regulation center. But essentially what it is that, as adults, right, we shouldn't be operating purely off of emotion, right? Once you get to a certain age, that prefrontal cortex, where the logic and the ration and the understanding your thinking, it becomes fully developed, right?
And that's not until like 25.
Yeah, but person by person, but you're looking at around 21 to 25 is when that really starts to get developed.
And the only reason why I'm saying that is because some of y'all are treating y'all 15, 16, and 17-year-olds like they are adults.
And that's why they crash out.
And they're not adults. Like, I feel bad for people when I hear them say, oh, I've been on my own since I was 15. Damn.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Kevin Hart. Damn.
Yeah.
Like, really? Because I've been on my own since I was 18, and I feel like that was too early. You know what I mean? Speaking of that, How do you feel as far as parents starting to understand or think? Because I don't know about other parents, but I definitely feel like my kids won't be getting out at 18. I don't think I'm under the impression that I need to start preparing my next house or getting my next house so that it's comfortable for at least my husband, myself, and my 2 adult children to be able to live in a comfortable situation.
I really think so now we're getting back to like a cultural approach, right? You know, because we were raised, you know, that previous generation of our culture was raised on being tough as hell. You got to be hard, you got to be tough, right? You cannot be super sensitive, you can't be soft. Like, you really have to, you know, you got to be able to go out here and survive on your own if you have to, right? You had, I mean, come on, let's be honest, you had certain folks that had parents that were drug addicted during that time, you know, so the whole concept of being the man at the house, you know, at 12, 13 years old, I remember.
But even slavery, think about it. Even when I was talking about that in that DNA, right?
Yeah.
Even with slavery, what was it? The master would take you from your parents at very young age, and where were they taking you to do? Go work.
Right. It was business.
It was business. They were taking you to go be on somebody else's plantation and be a slave hand there.
Right.
So we've been kicking our kids out, or we've been mentally okay with the idea of our children not staying with us for long periods of time, even before.
Because think about this. If I told a 30-year-old, so listen, I want you to go out here and survive with no skills, right? No cash flow, no business, right? No home, no car,
no support,
no benefits, right? No credit, so you can't get along. And I want you to go out here and make it right now. A 30-year-old look at me like I'm crazy, but we look at 18-year-olds
like
and say,
that's fine.
Right, 18,
because you're in college. You're in college.
Think about this.
You're there. That's where it's going to be okay.
Children really don't even come into their own understanding of the world, like just, you know, 1 + 1 = 2, you know, in terms of things around them, until they're about the age of 7 and 8, right? And then so we say, all right, so you're just starting now, understanding things at 8. 10 years of wisdom is all that you need to go out here and survive in the world. Is food. So we're sending our children out to slaughter, essentially. And so I do like what you said about, you know, I am thinking about what this next phase looks like for my family, so that when my children are done with high school, if they're not in college, you know, if they are staying at home, etc., they are at least on a pathway, number one, to having a roof over their head and being able to build some security, but two, on their own pathway of ownership, equity, etc., right? Like, it is we have multiple crises. This whole mental health crisis in our community is very big, but we have a homelessness, or a very close to homeless crisis. And how do you know? Just get on Nextdoor.
I call them hobosexuals.
No, even before that, but not but not just that, right?
Oh, because I was going to say, because that's one thing I'm trying to make sure my son never has to worry about. I don't want my son to feel as though he has to live with a woman to be taken care of, to either have a place to stay or have somebody to wash his clothes because he don't know how to do them or whatever. And that's part of that throwing them out. We throw them out, but we haven't taught them how to do anything, especially if you doing everything for them.
Right.
That what you call it, not lazy parenting.
Gentle parenting.
No, you said it a few minutes ago. You called them
you know, we be flowing now.
We do. You know where you ain't doing it fast enough. I'm gonna do it for you.
We are impatient.
We're impatient. I knew the word.
There we go.
It's like the plant. Impatient. My grandma loved it flower. Yeah, but we have so much impatient parenting within us. You know what I'm saying? That you never gave him a chance to learn how to do these things, because the first time he put your clothes in there and put too much detergent in there, you stopped him from doing it.
Right.
So now, and it's girls too, because some of these girls,
yeah, and a huge part of it, you know, not to go too far off on a tangent, but a huge part of it is just the fact that, you know, our focus is not on home and community. Our focus is on self, right? So how much can I promote myself? I remember maybe about 15 years ago, I had a friend that was asking me what my brand was. And I looked at her like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, what do you mean what my brand is? She said, what are you trying to sell? I said, I'm not trying to sell anything. You know, she's like, no, but what's your brand? Like, what? And so, you know, of course, as a business owner, now you understand. But back then, I really didn't understand the concept of self-promotion to level the playing field. So a lot of this is actually people that have not invested in themselves, you know, in their early adulthood, etc. Some people have children. They kind of fast track through life really quickly. And then we get to the point to where everything is on our plate, everything is in front of us, and we're having this moment like, oh shit, like I got to get my stuff together, right? But I have this kid that's 7-8 years old. I have this relationship that's been healthy, unhealthy, etc. And so now that fast tracking and that impatience comes from the fact that we, just collectively we have played around a little bit too much, and now that it's time for things to get serious, it's become a little overwhelming.
What about for that person who might be a late bloomer?
Okay.
That person, because like you said, the brain doesn't necessarily, get where it need to be until about 25, between 21 and 25, right? And so I think of it like this. Some people don't realize, 1/3 plus 1/3 is 2/3.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Until they start cooking and realize, like you learned this in elementary school, but until you started cooking and you see it actually tangible or whatever, does it really click for you? And I think that's what a lot of different things in life, you're going through life and you're doing things and you're doing them because you were taught to do them, but they never really click.
The application. So I guess in terms of for like late bloomers, especially for men, I was a late bloomer.
You think so?
Oh, I know so. And that's probably one of the best things that happened as well, right?
So so as a man, when you say you were a late bloomer, what do you feel as though you should have already conceptualized earlier?
Oh, no.
That makes you feel like you were a late bloomer.
So I actually think the late blooming was really, really good, because what happens, sometimes you can bloom too early. So if you ever think about the Atlanta weather, let's think about Atlanta weather, right? I'm going to use this analogy, but we're applying it to people, all right? We have fake springs, fake falls, and all that stuff, right? So in in March, we're gonna have a fake spring, right? We're gonna come out of several cold months. We'll have that one weekend where the weather start to feel good. We outside, all that kind of stuff. You'll start to see some flowers bloom, and then before you know, we're gonna have an ice storm because they bloom too early. The conditions weren't necessarily right for that plant to bloom at that time, right? The fake spring kind of gave a fake, sense of security for the plant, right? So it bloomed in a time it wasn't supposed to. Late blooming, I kind of, look at that for me personally, within my manhood, my masculinity, etc. It gave me time to understand, to observe, to be strategic, right? And to really kind of, learn from the mistakes that other people made, as opposed to just having to learn from your own mistakes. That's not the best approach to life, contrary to belief, right? Learning from the mistakes of others keeps you out of a lot of shit. It keeps you from having to deal with a lot of things that you don't necessarily have to, right?
Yeah. My mom told me that she didn't have to smoke crack to know that it was bad. She had friends that smoked crack and she could see it was bad.
Absolutely.
That was enough for me.
Absolutely.
I ain't smoke no crack to know it's bad. Whitney let me know crack is whack.
Yeah.
Crack is cheap.
But when it comes to men, and this is something I kind of, my mentees, my young folks I kind of work with in this climate, in this day and age, really from an economic standpoint, I let them know, hey, once you kind of get into adulthood, especially when it comes to, man-woman relations, etc., you start getting to like very, very, very major decisions, right? Take your 20s and sacrifice your 20s so that you can enjoy the rest of your life. Right. That's not saying don't have fun in your 20s, but sacrifice your 20s, right? Do some delayed gratification. Don't go and, mess up your credit trying to get that car, trying to, cash out on this, on the drip. And that's cool and it's fine, but it's not going to get you where you want to be when you're 30 and 40 years old. I used to be shopping nonstop when I was in college, right? I don't own not one piece of clothing that I wore during that back during that time.
But would you want to?
The styles have changed. Exactly. Listen, but not even the white, but just the 2XL polo. I still wear a polo, but I can't wear that 2XL polo because it's just not the style anymore. And so when we think about our behavior, right? Even spending money is behavior. Fit. Oh, listen, come on.
I had a yellow
the velour suits, the $200 velour
FUBU sweaters.
Listen to me. The FUBU jerseys, right? Like all of those. So styles changed, but we spent exorbitant amounts of money on that. So when we're talking to young men about how to get your mind right, how to position yourself, how to make sure you're making good decisions. Number one, it's not what's on you, it's what's in you. Okay, you got to deal with your physical, you got to deal with your mental, your emotional, your spiritual, your financial, your life and career. If you don't have a focus on those areas, and you talking about chasing the bag, you chasing life, you are setting yourself up for failure already. Okay, so this is really like a message to young men entering their 30s, right? And starting to, get to that place where they may be in a serious relationship. They may be building their career, etc. you have to make sure that you're focusing on yourself. So you're continuously investing, but also that your self-awareness starts to increase so you know when you need to take a break. Because it's the men that's in their 30s and their 40s that have all that weight on their shoulders. We're the ones that's crashing out. We're the ones that are, seeking therapy. We're the ones that are going into depression, having anxieties, high levels of stress, right? We're the ones that are having to compromise ourselves on the in the workplace just to make sure we still got that check coming in. We're the ones that still dealing with, this. I love our relationships, our women, within our community, but we still have to get that part right. Black man, black woman interactions. It's not just about the black community, but in general, our generation is having a issue right now. With sustaining relationships because we're so focused on self.
Right. Yeah. It's I don't even like that kind. I put it on my Facebook the other day. I don't like relationship questions because when it comes down to it, I really don't care what you want unless is we fucking. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to be funny.
And I passed a choice song back in the day.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be funny, but I really don't care about your relationship, anything, how you feel about a relationship, what you want out of a relationship, unless is we fucking. Because if we not, the only person that I'm concerned with is the person that I'm with. I need, it's not whether or not you care if I bring you food to the table before I feed my kids. It's about whether or not my man cares about if I bring him food to the table before I bring the kids. And we've already had these discussions. And I've said this before. A lot of y'all are willing to do things with people and then not willing to have conversations. And I can't understand that. I don't understand how, you can, what Sukiyana say, you licking booties. But you can't ask the person of you too scared to ask them how they feel about something. Or, I can't stand here and somebody say, oh, I could never ask him that. But he saw you naked. So what do you mean? Like it's not moving linearly. My tongue fell. It's not moving linearly.
Linearly.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's not moving like that. Y'all doing things out of place. With speaking about relationships, I would like to ask you this. For us women that are with you men, that sometimes y'all don't want to go to therapy and we see that you need the therapy, right? Yeah. How do we try to be that comfort for you, or how do we try to be that backbone for you to convince you or to let you know that this could be something you might need to talk to somebody, you know? How do we help you realize that?
So I think that if you have a partner, right, you see a man that he needs to go to therapy, here's what I would say. Number one, do not identify him as the problem, right? So if he needs to go to therapy, your ass needs to go to therapy too. That's just number one. That's number one, right?
You don't have a problem. We have a problem.
If we in this together, we in this together, right? Because if I'm getting healed and you still bringing your same BS to the situation, all right, what's gonna incentivize me to want to continuously give you this healed version of myself, and you still coming with your toxicity yourself? We create this concept about toxic masculinity. If it's toxic masculinity, it's toxic femininity, and we just gotta own all of that, right? Not saying that one is more than the other, but number one, if he's going to therapy, you need to go to therapy, and then you all need to go to couples counseling as well, okay? Because so I'm gonna answer what you just said. Was something that's really important. All right. We talk about being honest, right? With your partner, with your friend, all that kind of stuff. So it's like honesty right here. We can be honest on the surface level. Like, hey, did you go to the gym today? Yeah, I went to the gym. That's being honest, right? Then you have those safe spaces, right? Relationships, everybody that really like your person, you be like, all right, can we have this safe space? I kind of tell you, and then you don't just, right? And safe space is like kind of dangerous, right?
It is.
It's dangerous.
It is.
Oh, man.
Because if I tell you something and you use that against me,
or sometimes safe space, you're gonna hear something that's gonna hurt your feelings. All right. But here's the thing: safe space is phony.
Really?
Yeah. What we really gotta do is go all the way deep down to the core and be transparent. Okay. Because transparency means I am not placing your feelings over my truth or my reality of what it is I'm going through or dealing with right now. What I have to say may hurt your feelings. It may completely go against your whole. It may kind of, I may have to tell you some things you never even knew about me. But guess what? It's going to help you to understand why we're going through this shit we're going through right now. All right. And when you are very transparent, number one, you got to be transparent with yourself. Okay. You have got to own some things. This is going back to what I said earlier. Sometimes as a child, you were born to situations and things are done to you, where you experience things or you observe things, and it's not fair, that has an impact on how you view the world, right? But when you carry that into your adulthood, I promise you, when you're in a relationship, it's gonna hold a mirror up to you, and you're gonna see that ugly side of you.
Yeah.
Right. No, we get dolled up, we get haircuts, we get we want to look good. We don't want to see that ugly side of us. Right. We really and truly don't. And so we pack it away, we push it down, we hide it. Right. Listen, it's things about you or things that you may have done or things that that your husband may never know. It's gonna go to the grave with you, right? Because we don't want to necessarily disturb our home, create chaos within our place of peace, right? However, when you all are going through some things, right, it's that transparency. Remember, the solution is attached to the problem, right? I can't stand when I always trying to talk to you, you just shut down. Okay, let's explore why. And it ain't got nothing to do with you, the party. Let's explore this person's history, right? Maybe this person shutting down is their defense mechanism to keep it from turning up on your ass. But we don't
maybe
think
they shut down because they had a parent that whenever they tried to express themselves,
right, the parent blew up on them.
Their parent shut them down and stopped them from being able to do it. So just in the future, they just like, don't worry about it.
Exactly.
Don't worry about it. I ain't gonna say nothing because once I start, you gonna shut me down anyway. So
yeah, and so being transparent with yourself, right, it frees you. Right? Like you're not perfect. None of us are perfect. None of us ever will be perfect. None of us are going to have a perfect relationship. You're not going to do everything right. Your partner going to be pissed off at you. Your kid's not going to like. Listen, I had my son doing homework at 10 o'clock last night. Oh, you played all weekend? Yeah, no, this project's still going to get done. You think he liked me last night? Nope.
Not at all. And I think that's a hard part for parents now too. So let's talk. Okay, first we got some comments. Okay, they going in on the comment section. All the fellas is here.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
The fellas, like women ain't saying nothing except teacher. She said, "Oh, I'm learning today." Okay, Zario is here. He said, "Hey, I definitely been looking into mental health." Well, Zario, here is Dr. Von Gay. All right. He's with Holistic Atlanta Innovations Health and Wellness, and we're going to be talking to him today. So if you like what you hear, his website is up there. Y'all can connect and, keep the conversation going between you. Hotspot said humans today are being desensitized.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, technology has become, that phone stays glued in our hands, right? So that phone knows more about you than you know about yourself. That phone tracks every single behavior, every website you look at, how many steps you take during the day, how much money you spent yesterday versus tomorrow, your work. It tracks everything. Okay. That phone knows more about you than you. And so guess what? In about 10, 15, 20 years, this thing right here is going to be the AI of you. So we're past desensitized. We have to be intentional about feeling, about being sympathetic, about being empathetic, right? We have changed and evolved as people in a generation, right? We are hyper connected. We're connected more than ever. That's how we got here. Technology, right? It's our first time meeting each other in person. But what can also happen
I feel like I know you.
Exactly. And that's only because we've been able to kind of make this connectivity over time, right? The place that I was in this time last year, would have came in, got it in, got that, and we may have never even spoken again because my mind was just in a completely different place, right? And so we have to be very, very, very intentional, about tapping in. We want to go back to that phrase. Like we really need to keep tapping in to ourselves, right? And it is so okay. And I'm gonna say like this, fellas, don't even try to be perfect. It is okay to be imperfect. All right. Now, push yourself to be the best version of yourself. All right. But understand that you do have perfect imperfections, number one. And number two, it is completely fine to be not okay. Right. It is so okay for you to be like, you know what? I just don't have it in me today. Right. Or I really, really, really want to have this conversation with you. But, it's been a super stressful day. Do you mind if we kind of connect tomorrow and then be intentional about following up too? Right. So creating almost like a little bit of a safe space for yourself, boundaries, healthy boundaries, effective boundaries. Men are.
I think boundaries are hard for everybody because boundaries come with self-esteem.
Yes.
And if you don't have enough esteem of yourself, even though in your head you might have set this boundary, you didn't actually put that boundary into play, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, trusting in yourself and believing in yourself too.
And it's like, and then if you don't have enough self-esteem, even if you do put that boundary in play and that other person pushes back and it's like, oh, well, I don't care about that boundary, I'm still going to do it this way. You have to have enough self-esteem to be like, no, this boundary is here for a reason. This is what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do, or this is what I'm accepting and not accept, and make that person follow that boundary. And that's difficult in itself too. And I think I'm just now learning that as an adult, and I've learned that more watching some of the people around me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My friend Kels is great with that. She'd be like, look, I'm telling you, you don't call me. You have to email me. Yeah. I'm not responding if you don't email.
You don't email me.
And even when people be mad, and even when people be mad and be like, I called you, and they'd be like, but did you email me? And they'd be like, no, but I just wanted to say real quick, but did you put it in the email? And I watch her and crack up because she has set that boundary and she means it. And whereas me, I probably would have took y'all.
Let's see. Here's the thing. So
I ain't gonna front. I probably would have took, or you would have texted me and I would have gave in and took the text message.
So boundaries are a good stress test for other people. Right? It's not really for you. It's really for other people because you're teaching people how to treat you. Right. And so at this point, everyone should know if I need to get in contact with Kels, just send an email. Right. She's going to respond to that. She ain't going to call me back, or she's not going to pick up. And so my frustration is not with her, it's with myself for not respecting that person's boundary. Right. And so it's a stress test for other people. Right. Again,
don't give me that kind of ammunition.
No, come on. Listen, load up.
I promise you,
load up.
I promise you the next time somebody be like, I am so frustrated with you. No, you're not frustrated with me. You're frustrated with yourself because you cannot break through my boundary and you don't know what to do. Right. You're not mad at me, baby. You're mad at you. Don't give me that ammunition.
And so again, and like I always say, whenever we have a problem, attach a solution. So you're not gonna breach this boundary, but let me also teach you, let me tell you what does work really well for me. Right now, once you do that, once you draw your line in the sand and walk away, because now these people are adults, right? And this is the one thing that I can't, we are adults. And we are carrying ourselves as if we're in extended childhood, right? The way your feelings can't get hurt, or where you can't be disappointed, and we manipulate folks, to make sure that we are getting exactly what we want out of them 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The scary part about it is that we are going to be doing a whole lot of healing and therapy and this, that, and the other in our generation, in our 40s, now 50s, and our kids going to be running around burning the damn village down.
They already, I'm telling you, they couch eaters. They
about to burn the village down.
These kids are about to show us that we knew nothing. And it's crazy because we sit up here trying to say our parents didn't do this right and our parents didn't do that right and this, that, and the third. This next generation gonna come up saying the exact same thing. Yeah. Our parents didn't do this right. Our parents didn't do that right. And I told y'all why. Because God made it like that. If as children we believe when we grow up that our parents did everything perfectly, we would never evolve as a species. Never. We have to feel as though our predecessors did something wrong so that we can try to make it just a little bit better. That is how we evolve as a species.
Great point.
There's no generation that has said one of two things. Every generation has said these kids is different than the kids.
Crazy. They couch eaters. These
is new kind of kids. That's the first thing. And every generation has said our parents ain't no shit. They ain't get it right. My mom messed me up. My kids gonna be in therapy. I'm trying my hardest to make sure my kids don't have to go to therapy because of the trauma of me. But trust and believe, my son gonna be like, my mama crazy. My mama crazy. And I'm just trying to be a good mom. I'm just trying to be a good Dr. Vine. I promise you, I am that mom. And I have said this to my son. So you like girls yet? He be like, no. Okay. You like boys yet? He'd be like, Mom. I'd be like, I'm just asking. I'm just asking. You know what I'm saying? And some people be like, why do you do that? And I'll be like, listen, I need my son to understand no matter what, whenever he is ready to talk to me, I am ready to talk to him. And it don't matter what he want to talk to me about, I'm going to be open for it, right?
Yeah.
But my son could possibly go to therapy in 20 years and be like, man, my mom used to be asking me, did I like boys? Did I like girls? Right. I don't know what the hell my mom was thinking. Right. Because I don't know. This thing up here, this machine, it's so unique to each individual vessel.
Right. And there's no perfect science to doing interactions with people, right? Like, you know, everyone thinks that their perspective, their approach to life is the best way to do it.
It's not.
And so we have 7 billion people on this earth, and we have 7 billion right ways, which means there is no right way, right? You know, you have to really kind of understand what works best for you. So here we go. The king versus the Superman theory. Okay, so
I haven't heard this.
Oh
before.
Yeah, you haven't heard this. This is a very unique. This is a Dr. G original right here.
The king versus the
Superman theory. Yes. So we are as men, we are conditioned to see a problem, right, that we can solve. Right, not any problem, but a problem that we can solve. Right. Throw that cape on, and no matter who needs our help, we go over here, save the day. Go over there, save the day. Go all this other place, save the day. Right, and then we take that cape off. We be like, damn, how come no one is seeing me as Superman? Right, because Superman is needed to solve problems and fix things, okay, for anyone. All right, so what I tell men is, at a certain point, you will burn yourself out trying to be the man for everyone and everything. Right, you've got to take that cape off, put it down, pick that crown up, put it on your head, and now you become a king of your kingdom. You become responsible for the people and the things that you care about, that care about you, the people that love you and that you love, and you're responsible for those people. You direct and you invest your energy into that and that your kingdom. Everyone has their own kingdom. You have a kingdom. I have, right? We all do. Kingdom, queendom, whatever you want to call it, right? We're speaking to men today, right? You focus on your kingdom, your children, your partner, your business, your community, right? The local school, right? If you live in a black neighborhood, them elementary schools and middle schools, those are HBCUs too. Whether you want, they're not colleges, but those are historical black schools as well that we just completely ignore, right? You know, so it's a mentality, you know, that we really have to want to shift to, and then put some intentionality behind that. But yeah, king versus Superman theory. I don't want men to be out here being supermen and trying to save the day all the time. Focus on what you're responsible for. And if you invest that energy in that, I promise you it will be reciprocated.
Okay, we're going to stop right there for a second. We're going to stop right there because we got to go to a commercial break. But when we get back from a commercial break, I know I want to read all of these comments to him, and I can't read them all, but I will go ahead and pick out some of the best ones, and we'll go ahead and get Dr. Vaughn to talk about some of the stuff y'all have in the section. When we do get back, though, Dr. Vaughn, I would like to touch on suicide.
Absolutely.
Because that's, you know, that's really prevalent right now, and not just suicide in our men, but also in our children. We're having a lot. Like when I was growing up, I don't think I knew anybody growing up that even attempted, you know what I mean? And now it's an epidemic with our children, and I'd really like to discuss that as well. All right. This is All Hustle No Fear on Hits 92.3, the real definition of internet radio. I'm your girl, Sunshine Reigns. We've got Dr. Vaughn Gay in the building with us from Holistic Atlanta Innovations in Health and Wellness, and we are talking everything men's mental health. Y'all can drop y'all comments in the y'all can drop y'all questions in the comment section. When we get back, we'll be answering them. And let's see what I'm gonna play for y'all. You know what? I like where we at. I'm gonna hit y'all with that long ass highway. That's right. We're gonna play Gratitude by Londrell right here on Hits 92.3. Be right back.
I gotta be thankful because I know someone lost their life today. And so every moment I endeavor to live life the righteous way, to serve with a sense of purpose and let love light the way. Even if I die today, that's just the price I pay. Just know I try to be kind and seek the divine every night and day. Gratitude for the sunrise, gratitude for the sunshine, gratitude for the moonlight. Every day feels like a new life, especially when I meditate. Take a breath and then I elevate. Everything deserves gratitude. That's my everyday attitude. Gratitude. That's my everyday attitude. Gratitude. That's my everyday attitude. Gratitude is the fruit of life, the nourishment of the soul when there's no food in sight. When your vibrations are low and you feel blue inside, gratitude is the attitude that gets you through the night. Never believe in lack or limitations. Anything can be manifested with a little appreciation. I appreciate my life. I appreciate my breath. I appreciate my sight. Gratitude for my health. Gratitude is the happiest mood. Even if I happen to lose, everything deserves gratitude. That's my everyday attitude. Gratitude. That's my everyday attitude. Gratitude. That's my everyday attitude. Gratitude. With a heart full of gratitude and a mind full of peace. It's how you should live. It's how you should be. With a heart full of gratitude and a mind full of peace. That's how you should love. That's how you stay free. Yeah, 2020 AD. I just wanna make love. I just wanna make peace. I just wanna stay free. 2020 AD. I just wanna make love. I just wanna make peace. I just wanna stay free. Gratitude. That's my everyday attitude. Gratitude. That's my everyday attitude. Gratitude.
Oh, hey, honey. Let me take a good pause and tell you how you need to join this book club. I joined in the beginning of the year because I wanted to learn more. I wanted to grow. I wanted to be different. I wanted to do things different. So I joined the book club, and it has been nothing but amazing. I read once a month a different book, and I am so proud of myself. So go ahead, go to allhustlenotfear.com, click on the link to join the book club, and come on with us. Because listen, I heard they say that we don't know anything, and in order for us to keep things away from us, they want to put it in a book. I don't know about you, but I will not be left out.
Top of the AA. It's the top of the AA. It's the top of the AA. It's the top of the AA.
I'm up in that this money. People think it's funny. You walk when I be running. I need it in a hurry. Look, shout that body curvy. Her man looking worried. Don't wanna have to bury your tail tuck scurry. I don't want no problem. I'll be the one to solve them. Don't fight over no bitches. Too many in the world. She's never really yours. You're never really hers. My vision full of blurs. These niggas looking scared. Looking like a coward. Your attitude is sour. You do it for the minute. I do it for the hour. God gave me the power. Grace and gave me mercy. Haters wanna curse me, but their weapons didn't prosper. Satan tried to hurt me. Chocolate like a Hershey. New York out to New Jersey. Like James, I'm worthy. He see a G coming, but I don't wanna. If I did, she's a goner. We be smoking marijuana in some corner of the AA. The top of the AA. It's the top of the AA. The top of the AA. I'd have her in a sauna. By the end of the night, we'd be under the moonlight. By the end of the night, we'd be on Versace sheets with a bottle of Bel Air, looking up at the stars with just a few cares. Fingers through your hair, playing truth or dare. You a model, I'm a player. It's been groomed and I care. Don't give a fuck about this bullshit in the world. I only care about my little boy and two little girls. My wife and my mama, my daddy and my brothers, and everybody else. They get caught up in the struggle and suffer. Long suffering, It's the top of the AA. The top of the AA. It's the top of the AA. The top of the AA.
All right. We back. And Dr. Vaughn is answering some of y'all questions, and I have them recorded so that you can catch them on my Instagram and stuff like that. So he did answer a couple of these questions, but some of these questions are really good, and I wanted to make sure he answered them live so that you guys could hear them. One of them was this one. I just loved it anyway, because where did it go? Where'd it go? Oh, Rodney said, I'm coming out of a mental health relationship, but I'm back looking for a new brain bud.
Oh,
so basically,
man.
he had a therapist, and he's looking for a new therapist to connect with. So he's appreciating this.
Listen, I appreciate
chance.
you tapping into this conversation. It's so important, for men to show up and be present, because when we do that, then other people will definitely say, all right, it's okay for us to do that. It is so important that us, in this, during this time, not only for ourselves, but for those that follow us as well. So
and then it's so beautiful too, because Big Red Leads is here, and he said, hey, Rodney, if you ever need to talk, you can call me too, friend. And so I love that
community,
as well.
The power community online, we must stay connected. That's one of the good positive things about technology and bringing us together. We've been able to recreate community, right? And I also tell people that, we talk about church and the Black church and all that kind of stuff. Therapy has become that new thing with it, and we may talk about that a little bit later, but I had that convo with my mom. I said, a lot of those same conversations that were had with the pastor or the deacon or they're happening in therapy. They're happening in therapy. Absolutely.
And the therapist is actually trained on how to solve that, and not just to tell you Theolians 25:1. You know what I'm saying? I only know, look, y'all know I only know one prayer out the Bible, and that's Jesus wept. That's the only one I got for you. Q said, do you think it's the pressure from fighting for equal rights as Black people, as Black men, and following religions that contributes heavy to mental health issues in our community?
Yeah, it's this thing is transgenerational and it's layered, right? Wherever a person is, there's a possibility for a mental health challenge, right? Because these are things that are happening within our mind, brain, and psyche. Right. And so some of us, really to have a true understanding of, historical context and things that have gone on. Some people have, theories that go back to make connections between slavery, transatlantic slave trade, civil rights. There are all those things and all points in between, and how that has had an impact on our DNA, our emotional regulation, or even our cultural response. right, to some of those traumas. So really, I wouldn't pinpoint and say, you know, it was a specific time period, right? Because during that time period, they were probably pointing to a previous time period, right? You know, so this thing, when I say transgenerational, I mean there were people that were our age 50 years ago that were talking about these issues. It just may have looked or sounded differently, and the response was different, right? So if you even think about those men that you know, in the 80s, we had a lot of domestic violence, right? A lot of drug addiction, all those kinds of things. Them men needed therapy and rehab. And think about how many families would have actually been saved.
That came back from Vietnam.
Think about how many families, properties, businesses, levels of education could have been saved and pursued within our community, right?
If they just had somebody.
If they had some therapy, it's a 988 number, right? A better help.
Tell everybody what the 988 number
is.
is.
988 is the suicide hotline. We're getting ready to transition into that. You know, suicide hotline, the national suicide hotline. Essentially, if you are ever facing a crisis and you cannot get in contact with someone within your local vicinity, family, etc., 988 is going to be your first go-to. It is like the mental health emergency number, right? It's the same way we dial 911, you'll dial 988, and there'll be certain steps the people on the other end will be able to walk you through. All right. It is funded by our federal government, and it's our government's response to, we need to have some type of first step, right, for people no matter where they're at in this country. And then from that first step, we're going to lean on the mental health community, the practitioners, etc., to be able to have their own networks and galvanize that energy towards them. So it's very important that is in place now.
Rodney says, love that King talk. I most definitely suffer from Superman syndrome. It is my segue to depression and stress. And my makeup is to be a provider.
Yeah. My response to Rodney would just be, there is one word that's two letters, and if you put a period behind it, it becomes a sentence. What is that?
I am?
Nope. One word.
Okay.
Two letters.
That's 2 words.
And if you put a period behind it, it becomes a sentence.
Fine. No, that's too many letters. I don't know what. No.
One word, 2 letters, you put a period behind it, becomes a sentence. And why? Because if you have to explain or have a rationale behind every single time you may not want to do something, you don't go scorched earth on folks after a while. So that goes back to teaching people how to treat us. So when Vaughn says no, right?
That's it.
It's gonna be it, right? You know, and there's no amount of let me just lean on, just kind of wear them. Like, nah, it's probably gonna be the same thing, right? Because I've already thought about what that's going to require of me, right? No is very simple, but it's very powerful. Yes is one of the most expensive things you can ever say in your life. There was a clip on IG that went around. I was like, yo, that person hit the nail on the head. Because yes means sacrifice, it means commitment, it means expectations, it means preferences. Right. And if you're constantly saying yes to other people, when are you going to say no to them as opposed to yourself? So that is something, you know, when we're looking at, you know, giving, and that kind of, you know, that alludes back to that whole Superman thing, right? The flesh is never satisfied and you cannot save the world. Right. So why not just focus on the things and the people that you are directly responsible for? Because when you're out here trying to save the world, you're neglecting your own kingdom.
Q says it's important for young boys to be taught by men to be emotionally disciplined before they are given powerful magic such as love, relationships, sex, money, the huge responsibility that comes with it.
Absolutely. We talked about you know, during the break about, you know, tapping into feelings versus discipline. I kind of blended them together. You know, my response was exactly along the lines of what he said. We've got to practice discipline with our emotions, right? You cannot turn off your emotional response to things. Everyone is triggered by something, right? But it's what you do with that. Okay. I get angry about something every single day. Right. But I'm not allowed, nor do I have the right to yell at folks, to curse folks out, to scream at folks, to have an attitude. Nah. After a while, people will say, you know what, I'm just not going to interact with that person anymore. I'm going to stay away from it because I know what I'm getting. Okay. And so, you know, the emotional discipline, that's important for men because that does lead into your anger management, your conflict resolution. What happens when somebody tries you, right? And that starts happening at the age of 7, 8 years old.
Really?
Right? Oh, what? Yes. Boys are good. Boys measure their strength off of other boys. Right? By things that they say, a little shoving, pushing back, all that kind of stuff, right? Make up a little something about you to kind of see how you respond. Boys are going to test their strength around each other. no different than the way the little puppies
Little
do,
cubs,
right? Little cubs,
right.
yeah. And so that is the most opportune time.
Do you think school allows for that?
No.
Yeah.
No.
And I've had this argument so many times that it's like, okay, maybe a therapist needs to hear my idea.
Okay, come on with it.
Y'all heard this before. Here we go.
Come on with it.
I think that schools need to have boxing rings in the school, and there needs to be like, let's say our sons get, that pushing and talking and making fun, and now they've gotten to the point where they want to fight. I don't want to see my child get into fight on the playground or something where they can hit their head on the concrete. I don't want to see my kid being jumped by 2 or 3 kids in the bathroom. I don't want to see my son getting physically hurt, but they still have this energy. And as we already said, their frontal lobe ain't developed to be able to handle or articulate themselves in a way, and they want to come to blows. I want them to be able to go to Coach Vaughn and say, hey, I got an issue with him and I want to take it out and we want to get in the ring. They can put the gloves on, they can put the helmet on, but before they do that, they have to talk about, because Vaughn is going to get them to, discuss their feelings, talk about why y'all doing this, right? If y'all still want to fight afterwards, cool. The parents understand, you understand, we good. But if y'all fight outside of this ring, then we have an issue. It gives them a chance to get their energy out, get that aggression out, get to figure out who the alpha in the situation, but it's a controlled setting. I don't have to worry about my son hitting somebody and that person dying, or my son being the person that get hit and dying. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And everybody laughing at me about it, but I feel like, new solutions for real problems.
Listen, no idea is a bad idea, right? In the Navy, they have a thing called smokers, right? The smokers is when you got an issue with somebody. Shoot, we create a square ring, we're gonna fight it out, right? But those are grown men, they are within a controlled environment, right?
It still would be controlled,
right? So check it out, right? So in theory, yes.
Okay.
Right. In theory, good idea.
Okay.
Right? In practice, 2 things are actually happening right now, and so we can't just keep throwing stuff on the wall and seeing what sticks for our community, because the stuff that sticks creates more problems, right? And so we know that the number one thing that leads to shootouts, amongst young men is what? Fights. Right? So a fight is no longer a fight to where we got an issue, we're gonna square up, everybody gonna cheer us on, and then after the fight, we go away. Nah, I'm going to the trump because our boys have not been raised to be resilient, and now that they're men, they can't take an ass whooping in life. Or they've been getting their ass kicked by so many other things in life that when someone tries to say, you know what, I'm about to take this all out on you. All right, so that's the first thing, right? So we don't necessarily want to say, all right, y'all let's box it out and fight, because that could turn into something else as well.
I can understand that.
That's number one.
I can see that.
2, what happens when your son get his butt whooped in school in the boxing match, and then the parents want to come up there and fight somebody?
Well, no, that's in the contract. We got a contract. You got to follow the contract. Y'all can't be doing all that. We doing this so that we don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We doing this so we don't have to do
what
that.
I think would be really good, and kind of blending everything that your idea in a couple of the comments, spaces that we doing a lot of stuff with, like mental health talks and barbers and all that kind of stuff, because boys sit down, kind of talk their barbers about certain stuff with the ones that have decent barbers. Every barber is not qualified to be a mental health advocate, right? But even with that, I think that we can start looking at athletic gyms, or even some place like Planet Fitness, right? Open it up for an hour to let young folks come in there and work out, right? With coaches, with community leaders, etc. Have a nice little talk with them. That's a really, really, really good idea.
Bring back recess.
Bring back recess as well.
Recess.
But we
used to have recess twice a day.
Yeah.
These kids don't even have recess once a week.
They have
sometimes.
like once a week, yeah.
And that's crazy to me. Even up to the high school level, there's no gym. There's nobody allowed to get this. Kids
got to get that energy.
You know what I'm saying? They're like little atoms. Their molecules are moving way faster than adults are. Yeah. And you got to give them a chance to let that explode. And we're in school, you know what I'm saying, for 5 to 6, 7 hours a day. And we're telling them to be quiet, stay in a straight line, sit down, don't talk, don't do this, don't laugh, don't have fun, don't, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then you're mad at them because they
doing all
like
place,
this. You know what I mean? But you never gave them a chance to get
that
energy out.
Absolutely.
I think that would solve a ton of issues. Go run.
Run,
nigga, run. You know what I'm saying?
And for those of us that are able to have our kids in intramural sports extracurricular, my oldest plays football. Shout out to those Central DeKalb Jaguars. But he loves to run all day, every day, right? And so I can imagine if he just went to school, came home. There are a lot of kids that go to school, come home, and just sit there, watch TV, playing for 13 years. My child will be outside, like they don't play outside anymore, but he is at practice all day, every day, 2-3 games a weekend, track practice. So even if that requires me to sacrifice, like we said earlier, as a parent, right? My Saturdays are no longer at brunch. I don't get to hit the lounge, the hookah. But I find enjoyment in being a football dad. I find enjoyment in those conversations I get to have 2 hours away going to a track meet, for them to run one race. But but that is the payoff from that. 20 years from now is going to be immense, as opposed to me having to look at my 20-year-old son and be like, man, shoot, you grown now, you got to go figure it out on your own. I'm not doing that to my children, right? So there's a shift that kind of has to happen, right? And life gonna come at you fast. It's gonna take you where you need to be, and you're gonna have to make that decision whether you're gonna bite down or take off. Right. And unfortunately,
barbecue or mildew,
show up or what, right? So again, this kind of goes back just to the challenge, the call, right? That we're putting out, again, we're talking about men's mental health. This is a challenge, the call that we're putting out amongst ourselves, right? How can we challenge and push each other to become the best versions of ourselves for us, right? I started an event called the Mental Health Man Cave a couple of years ago, during the month of May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month. And, we just get guys together. Sometimes it's online, right? It's like a whole, 5 to 6 week program. Sometimes it's an actual one-day event where we get guys together and we just talk about this stuff, right? And one of the biggest issues.
Do you find that they're open? Do you find that they're kind of reserved at first, or do they just come in ready to just pop the bubble and let it go?
What's interesting, once people come to therapy, they've already had those thoughts and those conversations in their mind, like I really need to go I need to talk to somebody. Like I need to go just kind of try this whole therapy thing out. They've done all of that. Start. So when they're there, they're ready. It's a and here's the one thing that I've heard the most when it comes to men, like in their 30s and 40s, really kind of, again, carrying that weight on their shoulders. That phrase, I don't want to be here anymore, right? We're talking about, suicidal ideation, suicidality. September was Suicide Awareness Month, right? My clinical team and I just did a really, really powerful presentation at the My Life is a Gift Suicide Summit that was sponsored by Silence the Shame over this past weekend. And the phrase, I don't want to be here anymore, I kind of just asked, I said, about a show of hands, who said that before? Who's heard someone say that? It wasn't a hand that was down.
I've heard someone say it.
Right. And so when we hear that, it's not necessarily that someone is ready to take their life right then and there. The question that I ask a person that says, I just don't want to do this anymore, I don't want to be here, I don't want this, I don't love life, I say, so if we were to take 1 or 2 things off of your plate, if we would kind of bring down some of the pressure that you're experiencing day after day after day, would you still have that same feeling? And more than likely the response is like, well, probably not, but and so that's when I know, okay, boom, we've gotten through that first layer, now we can work, right? Because a person that actually has suicidal ideation, a plan, a means, maybe even a history, right? That's a whole different pathway of thinking than someone that is just super stressed out, burnt out, overwhelmed. They ain't never been in this deep, dark place before in their lives.
So if you are the person that's with the person, that's around the person, whether it's your child, your spouse, your parent, you know what I'm saying? Because some of us are raising our parents right now. Okay.
Absolutely.
Some of us, Cheryl, some of us are raising our parents right now, right? Yeah. So if you are one of those people that has somebody around you that you see that in them, or you've heard that phrase, right? What should we do to help? Because sometimes they say, well, you don't understand, you don't get it, because you don't, you don't feel like this, so you don't understand where I'm coming from. Those people who feel gray.
Yeah. I think the first thing is to always let people know that whether they believe it or not, there are people that care about them and deeply love them. They're just not really sure how to help them. Okay. Because there has to be a level of, hey, you know, we're here. We're still here. Okay. Secondly is you do have to start asking more direct questions. Okay. Because if it's a loved one, we got to be able to keep that person alive. All right. No different than someone that's on a 911 call, right? The dispatcher is supposed to do everything they can to keep the person calm in an emergency situation. Okay. So you keep that person calm, but you ask them direct questions, you know. How deep do you know how hard is it to, you know, feel these feelings? Does it ever go away? Right? Have you ever really thought about what it would be like to not be here? You know, do you have an actual plan of doing so? You know, how long have you had these thoughts? Right? It's very easy for me to ask those questions. Of course, I'm, you know, it's the work that I do, right? However, you know, again, we cannot do the outward work until we do the inward work. So I actually had to ask myself some questions. Vaughn, has there ever been a time where you really just didn't? And the answer was yes. Right? Like I actually uttered that phrase one time, about 2 years ago. Right? And when I uttered it, when I heard other people saying it, clients or just in general, I said, wait a minute, there's some context to that. Right, that goes well beyond just wanting life to be open, because life is a precious gift. The older you get, the more valuable you understand it is, right? You know, and so
some of those same people, you say that, but if they can't swim and you throw them in a pool, they don't relax.
Right, they tense up.
They tense up. You don't really want to not be here.
Right.
You know, you kind of just don't think you do right now, but if I throw you in a fire,
right, it starts to look a little bit different.
It look a little different.
Because our natural tendency is to protect self. Okay, and so if we're in emotional dark space, deep in that man cave, right, in the room, being detached from friends and work. You know, we talked about suicide back when we were growing up. It wasn't a thing in the Black community, right? Even abusing prescription pills wasn't a thing within our community, right? And so the only things we ever heard, the telltale sign about someone that has suicidal ideation, was that they start giving their things away. As a practitioner, the ideation starts way before.
Yeah, we've missed all the signs.
Before that.
Once she give you that chain off your neck, off her neck, this is
she
too
has
late.
calcified the desire.
Yeah, this is way past gone.
Right.
And I think social media has also made it kind of, you know, because you see people on social media who write up long stories and say they don't want to be here no more, and it's almost for attention, you know what I mean? But you got to be careful with that, because some folks, that ain't attention, that's just them, you know, they double dutching.
That's their outlet.
Yeah, they double dutching, and pretty soon they gonna do something to hurt themselves, and so you got to be very, very cognizant of that person and what's going on. And Dr. Vaughn said something to me that really threw me, that I didn't even think of, but he said there are a lot of people, especially in the Black community right now, that might be using suicide by cop. And that never crossed my mind. We're always, you know, when you see a cop kill somebody, the first thought is always police brutality.
Right.
The thought is never, did this person use the police as a means to an end? And now it makes you look at some of these situations way different, because you'd be like, bruh, you stupid as hell. Why would you do that? You knew the cop was going to shoot you. And now it might be, damn, he knew that cop was going to shoot him.
Yeah. So if you think so that is a very real concept, right? It's not exclusive to any particular community, but the one phrase that is often, you know, said by the person, you know, that is in that space with the law enforcement officer is, do it, right?
Just shoot me.
Do it, right? Now let's replace the police officer with like a family member, right? And let's just say we're within the home now. Right. And this person has just, you know, their internal resources are just depleted. Right. And they've just kind of gotten into a psychotic break. They have snapped, etc. Right. And now they are daring people within the home, right, to do something. Or let's flip it. Let's say someone is going through some ideation and their partner or the person at home says, well, if you're going to do it, you would have already done it. How many times we heard that? Right. You know, and so language and communication, this whole thing about, you know, mental health, you know, suicide, all those kinds of things, addiction, there's not a script right? There's not a perfect thing to say. What we want to do is really kind of educate ourselves on how to communicate in that specific way.
Yeah, because why are you saying that? I just thought about I was that person one time.
Oh yeah.
One of my little cousins, he would used to call my grandma all the time, and every time my aunt made him mad, he'd be like, "I'm gonna commit suicide.
Hurt myself.
I'm gonna hurt myself." And so one day, my grandma, oh man, you got her heart bumping and thumping, and he talking about, "I'm gonna jump off of the, I'm gonna jump off the roof. I'm gonna do it." So here I take the phone. Well, do it then. What? Just jump then. And I didn't mean it like I wanted him to jump. I just was tired of him, always
using that threat.
Using that threat. And that threat in return is making someone else sick because it does do that as well. It's gonna add a issue. You're, like I said earlier, you passing your energies off to me. I don't need that energy, and I didn't like that. And my grandma was so mad. She was like, "Don't tell him that." And I was like, "But he ain't gonna do it though."
But listen, so let me tell you how that plays out in real time with this generation, right? Was part of a conversation, was helping someone out that actually was in that same space, getting into a little bit of a back and forth with a significant other, right? Young person under the age of 18 called his girlfriend. Well, no, essentially we're on the phone, and they just, he was like, if you don't respond, I'm gonna, do this, that, and the other. And so he went up there, went up top, and while on FaceTime, took that step, right? And probably it's the reason why he's alive right now, because his partner saw it, right? She notified her parent, right? They raced over to his house. This is, it does go a lot deeper, and that was a message I did share with the young folks. We cannot use, suicidal ideation or anything along the, causing harm to yourself as a manipulative tool to get someone to do something that you want them to do. Because guess what? If you got to do that, you're going to be doing that for the rest of your life.
Right.
And if you have to do that to get that person to respond to you,
you're going to have to eventually keep moving the line.
Or maybe they just don't have that level of emotional connection with you. Right. And so the question would be to your cousin, right? Why do you value your life so little that you would just kind of bring that up as if it was a joke? Because now it puts the person, because a lot of times people just want to be heard.
I don't talk to him. I can't be around nobody like that.
I get it. I get that, right?
It hurt my soul.
But a lot of times those people, people that are in that space just want to be heard, or they just need to know that it's okay for me to be feeling like this, and that y'all actually gonna listen without judging me, without responding. It's, as you can see, everything we've talked about kind of gravitates back towards that same point.
Judgment.
Can I trust? Am I judging myself? Are others judging me? And then can I communicate with a level of trust that you'll receive and not respond?
So before we go, I know we're supposed to be off, right? We were supposed to be off like 5 minutes ago, but Rodney, this question, it hit me, and I need to, I want to give Dr. Vaughn a chance to respond to this question. Rodney says, I feel like I'm failing my 15-year-old son because I'm constantly working or tending to a struggle with the wife or the household, and he's beginning to be the opposite of me. He's lazy and quiet. Now, somebody else responded to him and said, Rodney, you got to stop with that defeatist attitude. If you think you are, change it. Show that boy who and why you're the man of the house. I'm telling y'all, get out there with your sons and chop wood. So how would you respond to that? And this would be the last one.
Yeah, the same thing. So again, nothing changes without you being intentional, right? So Rodney, I appreciate you posing that question, because a lot of men see their teenage sons, when we build a comfortable life for our children, they're going to be comfortable. They're going to respond with a level of comfort, right? If you don't have to cut the grass, have to do this, have to do that, if all you got to do is just go to school and do your work, I get them A's, I come home, be on my Switch, my YouTube shorts, my Xbox, my PS5, and then if someone asks me to do something outside of comfort, I got an attitude, because that's what teenagers, they have attitudes, right? And so Rodney, what I would say is, just like with any relationship, go back to the beginning. Right? Go back to what brought you to that level of connectivity with your son. It could be something as simple as a TV show or a cartoon that y'all used to watch, right? Or figure out those elements that brought you two together, that brought that love and that passion that, outside of just being the parent, right? And literally try to focus on that. That goes for any relationship. When things start to fall apart, go back and do what you were doing when you were dating. Full throttle, right? And see if that don't fix some stuff. Okay. And so with the son, I, as a therapist, I am recognizing more and more, and this is a message to therapists, if you don't go through some life, you can't really counsel folks on life, right? So my oldest is 8. He'll be 15 in 7 years like that, right?
Man, it happened. Oh God.
Don't tell me, don't rush it, but I do recognize that sometimes you don't, some people just can't feel unless they're going through it. What I would say is, Rodney, put that boy in that car, put him in the truck, plan a weekend where y'all just go, go somewhere for the weekend.
Make him build a house with you, Rodney. I need a she shed.
Hey, listen, get him up under that car.
And build me a she shed.
Change the catalytic converter. But no, seriously, from a wellness perspective, right? Go walk the mountain. Go get on the belt line. Go grab some food, with your son, because you only have 2.5 years, with him still in your home before he's an adult and he starts to spread his wings and make choices for himself. And the last thing you want to do,
make them, even when they say, I don't want to, I don't care. Make them, because they'll love it later. They don't realize they'll love it later, but they'll love it later. My son be asking me, how long we gonna be gone? Till we get back.
Till we get back.
Get in the car. Till we get back. What you got to do?
Because the relationship extends beyond childhood, right? Your son is going to need you more and more when he's 25, 30, 40 years old. I wish that I could call my dad, but like, hey, Pop, how do I do this? How do I do that? Right? Like, I would love to be able to ask my dad, instead of my mom, right? But that relationship just was never, it was there. It was never invested in. It was never nurtured, right? Like, it was never, watered and fertilized and all those things. So our relationship has stayed kind of where it was at when I was like 7, 8 years old.
So you're saying the relationship definitely has to mature with the child.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially for men.
Yeah.
Especially for men.
All right. Well, Dr. Vaughn, I want to say thank you so much.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to have you come back again.
I'll be back.
We got to have you come back again, but we definitely would like to have some of your colleagues come in as well.
Absolutely.
Fellas, this works out so much better when you guys ask questions, when you send in things, whether it's ahead of time or during the show. We really appreciate all of the information that Dr. Vaughn has given us today and all the questions that you guys asked us today. I mean, we took up the whole time. I didn't even get to do none of the other show. And I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all because I set it up for that. You know what I'm saying? What I really appreciate more than anything is just you're so easy to talk to. You know what I mean? You're so easy to talk to. You feel like one of those people where when you walk in a room, you're just embracing them.
Yeah.
And I think that's necessary in your profession.
Yeah.
You have to be able to let a person just, without it sounding the way it sounds, come in and take their clothes off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when you bare your soul, you are basically, standing in front of a person naked.
Exactly.
And it's very difficult in some situations to be able to get that.
The hardest thing to do is to do things. Well, the thing that takes the most strength is to do what we consider weak, right? Being vulnerable, getting into those spaces where you really and truly have to.
Not Rodney talking about can he come back for follow-up Friday?
Hey, let's try to make it happen. Maybe not this week, but no.
This man got clients.
Listen, here's what I will promise. We're gonna come back before the end of the year. We're gonna talk about seasonal depression in men and what that looks like.
We talked about that last year. Because I think I'm one of those people.
Absolutely.
Once the leaves fall off the trees and it starts getting dark at 6 o'clock. Oh man, my energy level lowers.
Wow.
I don't feel as like. Just everything that I'm doing at the end of the year, it just goes down.
Yeah, they call it sad seasonal affective disorder. Right?
I learned that last year here on this show.
So again, I appreciate everyone from 92.3 having us out here. Shout out to my team over at Holistic Atlanta, my folks at Solace to Shame, Counseling Brothers of Atlanta. Really appreciate all the work that not only myself, there are a lot of people that are doing this specific work, right? That may not necessarily get their flowers. So I always try to make sure that I give people credit where it's due. And so again, I appreciate you having me on. We're going to do it again.
All right. Y'all, I'm down to the last 60 seconds. If I don't get off now, I am so overtime. Kales will show up. I love y'all so much, and I'm going to let y'all get out of here. This is All Hustle, No Fear on Hits 92.3. Only thing I can tell you is go on my website and go get them birthday tickets right now.
I'll be there.
Right now.
I'm
Get
coming.
them birthday tickets. And even if you can't come, The tickets are donation. So just donate, because y'all know what I'm going to do. I'm buying a new computer and I'm going to buy a new lens with this money. That's exactly what I'm going to do. And some tequila. This is All Hustle, No Fear on Hits 92.3, the real definition of internet radio.
I just want to run my business and do ratchet shit with my friends. That's it.